Yeah, everyone knows what he likes, and I do wonder if they do just rush Kits' hero, because of course, picked up the Jakiro. Now I know that there's a 5 position, so this Death Prophet has to be a core. Whether or not you want to lane it versus the Invoker is the next question, but Puck is good, Void Spirit's good,
Ooh.
and they do pick a Spirit, an Earth Spirit, and we will have to see, because again, there's that flexibility. I think Merlin has played Earth Spirit already for this team before, so that lane makes quite a lot of sense, as well as it is just DP Earth Spirit. Super simple. Again, another lane that they've run previously in this tournament. But now you've opened yourself up to 2 more mid bans after picking the Invoker up maybe a little bit early here for NoRunes. So we're not going to see Guts immediately get countered out. I hope that's not something that's going to bite 5RAT in the back. And of course, in doing so, they do hide a little bit more of their draft here. But because they don't have last pick, they do have to make a call eventually. They have to sit in their own decision. I just hope that in doing so, they're going to be really satisfied with this Earth Spirit pickup, because I
Hey.
feel like they could have rushed it. And there's Lycan. Yes, I'm so happy. And now that Death Prophet has to be an offlane, because you are countered. There is a Lycan in the game. You are going to get eaten, and anytime you want to make a team fight happen, you're going to have to run away from him. You're going to get chased off objectives. It's no lockdown for Invoker. Guts is going to have to
It's
freehand pretty
true.
much everything in this game. But again, I like that hero quite a lot here. And again, Guts gets 2 more bans now against his mid matchup, so he should be absolutely fine.
Well, okay. Getting to see some new stuff, getting to see that Lycan put to use finally, and, well, yeah, how do these final bans sort of work out here? 5RAT remove the Slark, but if you're NoRunes, well, as of right now, what are you really concerned with, ET? We've seen a lot of bans on, well, the Ember and the Void. The Lena's already taken out, so you don't really have to worry about that. So what are they looking at here that's going to give the Invoker some issues as, okay, it is going to be the Void Spirit first?
Yeah, and that's what I'm concerned about, is right now, if you ban out Void Spirit, you ban out Puck, well, what is Kit's gonna want to play into what is kind of an annoying game? Because, of course, with the Invoker taken, you don't really want to force yourself onto Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit's fine against Lycan and the rest of them, but you want something to punish the fact that NoRunes effectively have no stuns. It is just the Snapfire cookie, and then maybe the disable you could say from Tornado and Cold Snap. But I just wonder if, again, in not going for the mid just 1 pick earlier, they're going to really be suffering. And there you go. No Void Spirit, no Puck. The best heroes against yours are now taken out. What are you going to play here, Kits? Because no matter what it ends up being, I feel like you've lost kind of a little bit of initiative here by not greeting out for that earlier core selection. Hopefully, they get something that can kind of counter the Invoker. I know it's kind of a short order now. A lot of those mid heroes have already been banned out or taken away, but you do have an Earth Spirit in this game. Having kill potential on the Invoker is going to be very important, and they do pick the Ember. Last hero left in the pool, so sure, but your Invoker versus Ember, I don't know. I'm a little bit sad, but it's okay. I'll get over it. But NoRunes, they just need a carry. They do have maybe a choice they could make here. I feel like they want the Snapfire Lycan lane, though, so it should just be Heiko on the Lycan, and then they're looking for Mini's choice. But that's where Mini also has to solve a problem that we haven't really seen teams solve just yet here, of what carry do you pick versus Morphling that isn't Faceless Void? Because even though Faceless Void does get countered, you could at least do something. I feel like right now that's where Mini might have some troubles in making his choice, but that's also where 2 minutes to make that selection. Okay, we can talk this one out.
Whatever it is, though, I would like to see, as you were saying before, any carry option that has any lockdown whatsoever, because this lineup for NoRunes is severely lacking on that front. But, you know, carries with lockdown, I mean, what are you looking at? Everything that comes to mind immediately doesn't feel great. The CK is kind of iffy. Do you try to pull Wraith King or Sven out from wherever they've been hiding meta-wise? It just doesn't really feel fantastic no matter what you choose.
No, it doesn't really feel great, and it is
Okay.
Troll. I was thinking about it a little bit, and Troll is kind of that in-between where you still have to figure out a carry that can lane versus Death Prophet, which Troll, again, 50-50, you can do. You're half a ranged hero, half a melee hero. But, again, into the Morph matchup, DNR's leaves. I do like that they have maybe a pseudo means of getting that attack speed back, though. So even if DNM does go for the Agnium Scepter build, of course, Troll still has Fervor. Troll still has his ulti. It's why in my mind I was maybe thinking of a hero like the Ursa, but that's where, again, being any melee hero versus Death Prophet is just a little bit too painful of a lane. So the troll definitely makes it more of, I think, an even match. But that's what we'll have to see. I do want to say, though, I think this is one of the more even drafts that we've seen in the tournament. I feel like both teams have very different ideas of what they want to do. I feel like everybody is kind of right at home on their heroes as well. Nobody's really been too banned out. I think, again, maybe there was that slight misplay from 5RATFORCESTAFF in terms of their hero pick. I feel like they could have gone away with a little bit more greed, but that's where, again, gotta not think about that anymore. We're in the game. We'll see how this Invoker versus Emerald lane plays out, but aside from that, I like both sides.
This is, again, yeah, like you said, one of the closest ones we have seen so far today. Hopefully that means we get ourselves a pretty good game as well, because, well, we find ways to find narratives in the one-sided matchups, but it's so much easier to have storylines come to you when both teams legitimately have a shot at winning. I know, it's crazy, but that is the way that it plays out here, and this should be an interesting one. We've got some good farming heroes. We've got some activity that should be going down, especially Merlin on that Earth Spirit. He has been a pretty incredible addition to this 5RAT squad, ET. He's part of the reason why they've been successful since he joined the team, temporary or otherwise. I'm not really sure if it's a permanent addition or not, but they've been 3-1 in the games that Merlin has played. So he brings this level of aggression, but also efficiency, right? We have yet to see him just feed in any of these games.
Yeah, but he isn't logical, Kmart, and you need to be biased.
That's
but
right.
Yeah, no, he's definitely looking like a pretty nice pickup here, and kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think he was really doing too much up until this point. Of course, you are, I think, a little bit of an import. I don't think this is a NA born and bred player. I think he's been playing and bouncing on a whole lot of teams. Yeah, he's got 115 paying to UFC, so, I think he's across the pond, as they say, but that's where no matter what, as long as you have skill, you're going to be valued, especially on what has always been one of the tougher spots for many of these NA squads, just having offlaners, having 4 positions. It's just simply the role that a lot of people didn't put a lot of effort to, especially the next batch of NA pros just really didn't put any effort into those positions. Who knows? Maybe they had bad influences going up through the ranks, but we'll have to see, I think, how his continued performance goes, because 5RAT is definitely one of those teams that I think if they get a 2-0 here, they already set themselves up again in those top 4 positions that look really good. I think already both the Cut and Ravens kind of feel like they're already secured, but that's where, again, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of those spots are always so contestable.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, having the top seed is great for you matchup-wise, but if you're in the top 4, you make upper bracket. That's really kind of the most important aspect here, as we are going to get this one underway. Mini gets run off the rune spawn just a little bit there, but 2 for 2. Even split. Sarem did manage to get off a bit of a D ward there in the middle lane, however, so it's a slight edge, perhaps, to NoRunes as we start this off. In the meantime, keeping an eye on Sarem. Where is he going? Because he's making his way top. This could be... maybe a tri-lane attempt just for the kill. Maybe
Body
it's
blocks.
permanent. Oh, the wolves.
Oh, no. Oh, he's going to block now?
Oh, okay. AB1, he tried his best, but he just can't get out, and they're even going to pop the enchant just to make sure he's not getting away, and there's your first blood, followed immediately by a TP, so it's not going to be a full tri-lane. They wanted first blood, they get it. Mini got kind of beat up a little bit while his support was gone, but hey, he has the tangos, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, and that kind of sad, because the only reason that AB1 is in that position is just because he's trying to get the rune. He lets DNM just walk a little bit earlier, so that way he doesn't have to worry about missing any creeps in the first wave. It ends up being painful. And Hannes, of course, on the Snapfire isn't going to matter the most, because maybe a little bit more mana regen and a little bit more in terms of sentries to the lane, but shouldn't be any too big game changer. Bottom, though, harass.
Oh. Trying to take it to speed as fast as they can, and speed, well, without the siphon here at level 1 is a little bit less durable, so he's going to hit level 2 in like 2 seconds, so they had a window, they take it, and they burn through some regen.
Yeah, and funnily enough, they did increase one thing about Death Prophet. They did make the Spirit Siphon just do damage now based off of the exact heal number. But, again, this here did get slightly nerfed, especially on this recharge store time. It's where those little poke plays do become more important in a larger aspect of the hero, where if you can actually force out those siphons, it is actually a punish now, where before it definitely felt a lot more free.
Well, means in the meantime, we'll take a quick look here at mid. No, we won't, because there's a kill top. AB1 gets taken down again. Hane might have to sacrifice his life for this one, although DNM, that's all he's got. Only level 2, he has no point in the waveform, so the Snap just got away with another one. That's 2 kills on the board for him.
Yeah, and it's simply just the lane. It's like in Snapfire. You always have something to cookie in. You've got heroes that you could micro as well. It just ends up panning out for you. And with the wave pushing in so hard, AB1's got a creep camp, so he's at least going to be able to pull it back slightly. But Aiko is very happy to last it underneath tower, and Hana stacks.
Got the half pull for AB1. Stacks from Hane. Let's... Oh, yeah. No, he's got this. No way he doesn't. There we go. Stack comes through. Cross the river. Steal a bounty rune. Making all sorts of plays. And now we can get to our brief point about mid ET, because this doesn't feel like a lane where a crazy amount is going to go down, at least not in the 1v1. Kits is kind of ignoring the Flame Guard, just looking for the damage, so if he starts making rotations once he hits 6, he is going to have that extra damage to work with. Although, oh, Hane,
Yeah.
well, no action on the 1v1, but that's not a 1v1. Okay, there we go. Oh,
Yeah.
for a moment I thought maybe they were going to flub that, but they do get the kill and they get it into Guts' hands.
Yeah. Get to high five each other too, and this will put Hanes all the way back into the base. But yeah, this is the lane sets up, and even though last hit wise they were pretty close, and they are going to be pretty close, it's where once Guts has, I think, one more point up in Wex, it's where that EMP really starts to hurt you, and then you end up having to buy a lot more regen, a lot more resources, as Guts also finishes up his urn, which is just even more damage that, again, you can't really contest with because you don't have any points in Flame Guard because it's just a non-factor in the lane.
Well, interesting move out there from the Invoker, and a solid rotation from Hane, who keeps up 100% kill participation, at least on his side, as Mini gets taken down on the opposite side of the map. But back up top, AB1 gonna get run down. Heiko gets the kill, and the overall trade across the map is gonna favor 5RATFORCESTAFF a little bit there, but I think it's more important to note the level of activity from this Snapfire at the moment, because if it continues, he's going to have an impact across far more than just the one lane.
Yeah, and Hanes has a full medallion right now, so
Oh my god.
you got to be careful, because that's an item that we do not get to see very often, but when it comes out, it surprises you, and especially with Little Shredder, we'll have to see what his actual item build is, and that is highly unfortunate. DNM's Morbid Mask gets clipped, so even less regen for the Morphling to work on, even though he's never really the one that they're going to make a play up top, because of course you waveform away, don't really ever die to this combo, but still kind of unfortunate.
It's going to deny him a little bit, and it might ever so slightly delay a potential rotation into the jungle for DNM as well, which by a minute or two, is that going to matter? Maybe, probably not, but hey. It's a nice play all the same, and now speaking of plays, Hane's made his way mid again. Wants the wrap around. Kits. Oh man, I just now realized that as well. If they hit him with the Howl, he's going to have even less armor as there's a kill down bot. Merlin may go as well, but back mid, they're looking for that attack onto Kits. I don't know if they're going to get it. They don't manage to do so, but Merlin does fall down bot, so it is still 2 kills over to NoRunes.
Yeah, the Pinecone just a little bit too strong, as we keep on seeing Enchantresses, I feel like, get this creep, but also just the Siphon's not really doing that much for speed. He tried to get them going, but it just ended up still being a kill, not having a raindrop in the lane as well, just eating so much damage from those whirling axes.
Whoa.
Pretty much unsurvivable, but yeah, whoa, Merlin.
That's a little
EMP.
too far, and he might just die. Cookie stun, tornado in. A little bit more damage, not going to get it. Guts, I don't know if you want to go much further, because Kits is still here. But Merlin, that's a very aggressive roll. Kits kind of wasn't even in position to really follow up on that either, but he doesn't pay for it, I guess. That's going to be that, but did want to point out something I realized when they tried to make that rotation, you know, with the point up in the Howl as well, that's even more armor reduction. So you've got Howl, You have that medallion. That's what it's called. Wow, sorry. So whoever they go in on suddenly just has basically no armor whatsoever, and, well, they don't have the Howl or the medallion for speed, so they're not going to be able to quite finish him off unless this Wild Wing Ripper does something spectacular. No.
Nah.
But now back in the river. Yep. Guts able to find the kill onto Merlin. Kits may get him in exchange here, but with Hane coming in, he can't really force that fight, and NoRunes, 7 kills here. Compared to just the 1 for 5RAT, it's getting a little bit concerning, the activity we're seeing from the SA side.
Yeah, and even though it's a non-factor in the game, they also kind of fixed Howl. What are those quality of life changes where you don't see the server just crunch every single time it's cast at nighttime, because everything ends up with the, depending on whether or not you have the Immortal, the additional kind of icon that floods over everything. So that's nice. Our servers get maybe a little bit more peace when it comes to this hero, because that was definitely something that was plaguing the game for for quite a bit. But no, it's good. Small little changes like that that show up at the beginning of a letter patch that everybody skips over because everybody's gunning for those hero changes.
Baby steps, though, because in that last game, Haunt still stuttered it for a sec. But hey, like I said, baby steps. You know, we'll fix things, you know, one ability at a time. Okay, Mini. Any football fans out there? The 7-1. Didn't realize that actually is the scoreline. So if there's any if there's any German people in the audience, please avert your eyes and try not to think about that particular memory. But this is what happens when you have an extended pause. The reason for which, ET, I'm not sure we have heard.
No, all we know is that DNM paused the game. Yeah, we'll see, because no admin intervention just yet. It's funny because even when the game does pause, you usually see a sec door. That's always the classic. But
yeah.
Okay, and there we go.
Refuses to elaborate. Resumes the game. So back into it. Must not have been too serious, all things considered. Maybe it really was just someone getting a food delivery. It's about that time, depending on what time zone you are in. But we're gonna see a fight down bot. Ooh. We were going to see a fight down bot. Now we get to watch a very awkward pause. They did get the stun onto the Troll Warlord. Can Sarem... No, he has no points in the attendance. I don't think he could really help out here at all. So Troll should go down. He's not 6 yet, so there's no battle trance to bail him out. And I think 5RAT should clean this up.
Yeah, the only thing he can kind of play for is, of course, getting the blind going on these two heroes, and then the Pinecone slow. Now let's see. Oh, doesn't even attempt for the blind. Instead just goes for the juke. And Speed is getting killed, and Guts is here. Okay.
This is getting a little strange. They didn't actually get the DP there, but Merlin is dropping Mini, you are a greedy man, and I love it. He doesn't get the kill, but I think he picks up the assist with those whirling axes and Guts. Does that hit? Yes, it does. Speed is dead.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, maybe he's not.
TP home.
It's going to tick him out.
Oh. What was that vision? I cannot believe that Guts actually got that cast. That was so quick on that Urn of Shadows. Then leaves Mini with one as he goes back towards that mid lane. I am baffled, and Guts is even sticking around to see if somebody's going to attempt Fate here and TP in without thinking that he's still around. So we'll have to see. But Speed already using his TP. I mean, who else can come here? It's just going to be the Earth Spirit showing up, rolling out of the base to try and get any of this XP, of which he'll get some, but man, what a rotation from Guts.
Absolutely saving the day. I mean, Mini should have been dead there, right? They had him so low, he's trapped in the trees, and Guts just says, I got you. Saves his teammate's life, picks up a couple of kills. They don't get the tower at the end of the day. That's a bit unfortunate, but, you know, you can't be too picky. You save your carry and you pick up 2 kills. That's going to be enough for now, but what is this? 4 heroes have made their way down bot, ET. The second NoRunes sort of realize how many are here, though, they've got their own TPs at the ready, although right now they're actually looking top. DNM is by himself, so this could be a huge kill. He's on full agi as well, so if they can take him by surprise, He might not have the time. Do they get this correctly, though? Guts is going to pop. See what they do.
Yeah, this is quite the dive, though.
What in the world? Okay.
There's the shapeshift. All they need to do is break his TP, and oh, he stopped there for a second. A little bit of that, and now no cold snap.
Oh, he still
Oh,
dies.
they barely got it.
Oh, man, that was unbelievably close, but they get it. It is a trade, technically, as Sarem falls, but 5RAT send 4 heroes bot, and they kill an Enchantress, whereas you get the Morphling, and it was a trade-off on the towers, so there's really not even a significant shift of gold on that front, so very nicely played by NoRunes, and now if you're 5RAT, well, where do you send DNM? Is it just jungle time for him? Because with that tier 1 gone, a lot of this northside jungle is opened up to your opponents.
Yeah, and that's where I think you do have to play like you still have a Lycan. He is effectively useless now. 70 seconds before we're going to see anything else out of him, but just walking in the mid lane.
Oh, man. He had the Remnant, plays it safe, jumps away, all is well, but very strange maneuver, just going straight up the ramp like that. However, that does force Hane and Guts out of your jungle, so it's not the safest place in the world still, ET, but it's not occupied by the opposing team right now, so Kits is going to be able to get in there and find some farm.
Yeah, just get to move in between. Honestly, not the worst case scenario, and really, Kits, aside from the Invoker lane, he still will have a pretty nice time, and I think he is the most likely hero to go up versus the Lycan when it comes to just keeping that wave constantly pushed in, because of course, if a team fight does break out, all it takes is for you to have a Remnant left behind, and then you can still participate in those global engagements, but still have to be careful. And oh, if they know about Hana's, he just comes over here, but maybe a little bit slow on the comms there. That, as well as he did want to finish off that top wave, but he's trying to collapse in on mid here, and with shapeshift up in 3 seconds. So where 5RAT need to be very careful. A dive right now would kind of shatter them, and both their supports are still very weak. And they spoke up without neither of the level 6s on the supports here. This feels like quite the issue they're forcing, but tower's dying. They want to make a play, but it's just not coming.
Oh, stun on Kits. Merlin, oh no, his roll's canceled as well. This is getting awkward, but Speed does come in with the XO, but now the shapeshift, I hear it. He's looking to make a wraparound play here on Heiko. Although his teammate is actually going to get caught first. Yeah, they got Hane. Okay. That's a bit of a weird one. Heiko snipes out a courier, but that's not exactly a return kill. They do, though, manage to get this tier 1 taken down at the end of the day, so still going to be happy with that as... Maybe one, did he just die to wolves? Yeah, he did.
He died to the summons.
Okay.
Heiko just focused entirely on the micro there to make sure that he went down, but that is the sad state of, I think, the support duo versus Lycan. But yeah, just TP down. They got him. Unfortunate death of the Morphling.
And yeah, with Guts now, that urn that he was able to use so well earlier is now a full vessel, so makes the Morphling even more vulnerable there as they were able to finish him off. Just between Guts and Sarem, that's not the most firepower in the world, but they get the job done, and now Guts is going to go again. Looking for speed. He doesn't have Tornado at this point. Actually, he does. He's just holding it in reserve, but he's going to miss with it. And without that Tornado damage, Speed is going to live.
He just gets to walk away, but
rolls.
sticking around and punish. Lyco's dead. Very nicely played. Did have to commit quite a lot of spells, but honestly, level 1 magnetize, you're okay throwing that out there. I think just trying to do a little bit too much, and that is the punish. You cannot overwork your Lycan, and that's where you can also catch him pretty easily. You know which side of the map he's going to play on typically. It's usually quite the easy hero to smoke onto. It's where whenever he has shapeshift, you don't want to make that play, but whenever you know it's down, you do have to look for those opportunities that do show themselves. But, of course, Heiko dead so far up the lane. You have now given all of this farm over to Mini, who is looking for his Battle Fury, and will have it about 15 minutes.
Solid timing for the troll at this point. All things considered, he's top of the net worth, and, well, Battle Fury does mean he's not exactly going to be looking to fight. You look at the skill build, he doesn't even have a point in the Battle Trance, so he is all in on the farm at the moment, but it is going to help him keep pace compared to the Morphling, and DNM also has not bothered taking his ult yet. So both carries basically just telling their teammates, you guys go fight, it's cool, I'm just gonna kind of focus on farm.
Yeah, and we'll have to see, because of course, once he has his BKB, that's going to be the next timing, and you have to wonder on the opposite side what DNM is going to have to try and close that gap, because in the matchup, of course, if the troll gets on top of you and you don't have your Mantha, you don't have your waveform, even if you do, Mini is just going to look to ape and chase you down, as well as the rest of the lineup, to be honest, because that is exactly what Heiko's planning for as well. But mid, oh, there's the kisses, there's the tornado, there's the vessel setup. I don't think there's any way Speed survives this one. Tried to juke it, but just doesn't work. And without a tier 1 tower there, yeah, that's a tough play to make. And a revenge smoke comes out, but don't know if this is necessarily going to play the way they want it to. They'd have to go really hard on the guts and then hope it's enough damage, and here we go.
Roll. He did get the meteor down. It's not actually hitting the heroes, though. Yeah. It landed behind them to hit the creeps instead, so Guts didn't even have that damage to try and work with, so... Okay. It turns into a trade-off at the end of the day. Not a bad move from 5RAT, but Kits... Oh, with the way he's angling... they got eyes on Heiko. I don't see if there's... Yeah, there's no way he can do this without getting spotted. That ward is going to see him, so... No attempt in terms of an actual kill, but he can clean up the creep wave.
Yeah, it's something to play for, which is always not too bad in full speed. He's back mid, he's got exo. Of course, you do fall into that territory that we always talk about with the level 1 exorcism, where when and where do you decide to use it? Can't really afford to go for Roche in this game. It's where, sadly, NoRunes does just have, I think, a few too many heroes that are capable of it, and 5RAT are honestly tempting fate a little bit here. They die on this top side this close to the pit in any capacity, you could probably see NoRunes immediately rotate. Helm of the Overlord was just completed on that Lycan, so have to be a little bit cautious. But Smoke completely scouted out. 5RAT, it's going to be their choice whether or not they decide to fight this, but at the very least, they should retreat to the tier 2 and then kind of reassess.
Doing exactly that. Falling back for the time being. Guts does throw out a tornado that hits onto 2, so they know somebody's in there, and now they're going to spot out AB1. Should be able to take him down fairly quickly. Heiko channels out the shapeshift, though, so they really are looking for another target, and they are getting onto Merlin. That's 2.
They died too close to the pit, and now Solar Crest, Little Shredder, it's just completely free. This is nothing they can do about it. I just feel like maybe on the way to retreat towards that tier 2, if they get this high ground ward, they can at least play for something. But NoRunes, they took all the necessary steps there, and even if this light comes through, and it won't because of the tornado, there you go, free Aegis.
This is still going.
It's got a remnant out, but
Cookie, okay, yeah. He's dodging. It was worth a shot, I guess, if your Kits. Doesn't really cost him much to make that attempt, but the tornado just really cuts him off at the knees, and there's an Aegis into the hands of the Troll Warlord. The problem is, Mini was already kind of looking towards the farming build, maybe once the BKB is completed, if the timing works out perfectly, although they're trying to catch him out right now. This is going to get a little bit awkward. Mini is silenced. Trying to hold, trying to pop the ult. Now it comes out. Merlin's in trouble. Here come the Mortimer Kisses. And this is very awkward if you're 5RAT. Speed dead. Merlin down. AB1 hiding in the trees. They do eventually get that Aegis out of the Troll Warlord's hands, but they lose 3 heroes in the process.
Yeah, and this is one of those, I think, instances where you're going to look at this in the replay after this game, and you're going to realize, well, they just had a ward the whole time. This does not look good, at least from the overhead perspective. Sadly, they just don't get the re-D ward. They don't have any courier flying over either, so ends up being pretty sad, because you feel like they have sentry advantage, and their sentry actually just barely misses the ward that's on the low ground here. I don't know. It's a little bit of an unfortunate circumstance for 5RAT, but they just got to move past it. I think got to really focus on splitting these lanes. You did get the Aegis, which is quite nice. Unfortunately, Mini will just immediately go for the BKB next, which slots out quite nicely for the Aegis.
Yeah.
Just means that you still probably can't kill him, or at least can't kill him quickly, which is still quite the large problem, because, again, struggling to find that next play happen, especially for Speed. He is really falling behind on farm. And Merlin, he's in, but got hit by the EMP, so he's out of mana.
He really doesn't want to be here. And look at Srem go. Just throwing in the impetus shots. That's going to be a kill. Speed's got to be careful, too, because with Heiko having the shapeshift... Okay. DNM's presence does force Heiko to retreat. DNM... Okay, he morphed into the Invoker. That's a little bit of a weird one, but... It gets the job done. It sort of breaks up the fight, I suppose. Just ends up being a one-for-one trade on the support duo. Although, I will say, Heiko did use Shapeshift, right? That is now coming to an end, so that's a bit of a hefty cooldown, and I guess 5RAT can sort of look at that as a bit more of a silver lining.
No, for sure. Anything wasted is going to be something they can now play around. And now we'll have to see whether they can find that punish onto the Lycan, or if he'll be able to sidestep. Sadly, during daytime, you do have to smoke. It's not like you can really catch him off guard, and nobody on 5RAT is going necessarily for a blink dagger that they could just immediately go in. There's no blink stunner, even though Speed is trying to fulfill that role where he just goes in, gets a point blank silence, and then causes some chaos. But Heiko with the creeps, and actually just the wolves from the Ag Shard kills the top tower, and oh boy, the supports.
Yep. There's AB1 dead already. Speed is coming in with
out.
the exorcism.
They gotta run.
Guts is... Okay. Deafening Blast is going to help, but the Yule Scepter throws him up. He's actually going to get stuck here, and he's taken down.
No, good punish. There is a BKB troll. They can't go to that next target, but yeah, NoRunes caught themselves in their own mistake. Heiko immediately starts TPing out, and then Guts is like, oh, well, my entire team just left me, and then dies for free, which should mean that this tier 1 mid is also traded out, unless you really want to take this 4v5. I feel like this is a situation where maybe you look for the cleanup, but oh, Merlin.
Okay. Gets the kick back on his Rem, but look at the kisses. Turns into a trade once again. DNM just morphed into Snap, which didn't really do him too much good in the immediate fight as he misses with the cookie, but it does allow them to back off. The problem is, Mini did deny the tower, so while it goes down, they don't get the full bounty for it, and they're looking to the Morphling here. Can they catch him? Cookie comes in. There's the stun. Mini pops the ult. DNM goes down. AB1 falls as well. And if you're 5RAT, you know, yeah, they're going to tip DNM because he had some opportunities to get himself out of that fight, and he just sticks around.
No, he tried to make a play happen on the Hannes, and then 100% gets punished for it. And again, even though it's maybe doesn't feel like the most useful shapeshift, you still get 2 kills. You still have that follow-up. It's just a guaranteed cookie stun. It's a little bit harder to execute with the Ag Shard on the Snapfire, just a little bit more travel time. But aside from that, play works out. Get to use your BKB on the troll as well. You just find a fight to get into, which feels quite nice. And even though NoRunes, they're definitely not too confident. They're not going to go for a play just yet onto, let's say, a tier 3 tower. But that action on the Lycan's doing work. It's keeping these lanes constantly pushed in. And the longer these team fights happen and the further away from the base, it's where you really start to feel the effect of that Egg Shard.
Just a little bit of extra pushing power, right? It's not fancy, right? It's not flashy, but it's always going to be there, just helping out that little bit, and didn't cost the Lycan too much, right? He already had his Helm of the Overlord by that time. Everything he picks up now is just kind of going to be luxury. As you take a look, that's just a Bloodthorn he's trying to build up, so Jesus, if a shapeshifted Lycan gets in with his full creep army and a Bloodthorn onto you, you're going to be hard-pressed to survive that, really.
Yeah, and I think the reason he goes for it over what was the wolf fight that he was maybe looking for his troll is just because it punishes DNM for maybe going for a little bit later of a BKB. And you say later, and of course he's got a Scotty queued up. You do not want to be forced into getting your BKB too soon, but that's why it's a punish. That's why it feels quite nice. Not to mention as well, I think getting Orchids and casual silences versus heroes like the Death Prophet, when you also look at his build and you see that he doesn't have a BKB either, it's where you could start to see a few problems arise. But that's where you can't talk too much, because right now we are in the downtime of a game. Roche is not able to respawn just yet here, but they make a smoke play. Funnily enough, Guts in front, even though he doesn't have any defensive items just yet, still working on his BKB, but that's where NoRunes, their smokes don't really feel all too scary, mainly just because they also don't have really that key initiator. And for them to get a fight started, they'd probably need to shapeshift preemptively and then try to cookie someone in, which is hard and very committal, even though Arcane Rune for the shapeshift is pretty nice for them to find. But smoke on smoke, but they have the high ground on NoRunes. Well, this is scary.
5RAT jump in. They see Guts. Cookie is going to help push him away, though, but they're still chasing. Everyone is in onto this Invoker. They're going to be able to take him down, and now if you're NoRunes, do you really want the second half of this fight? Because they stayed up on that high ground. They are starting to get run at. Sarem, stunned by the rolling boulder. Who's coming in after him? Well, looks like DNM and Kits both commit for it, and they are able to find the kill. The rest of NoRunes do manage to split and TP out, but that was a weird one, ET. It seemed like at first NoRunes were the ones sort of waiting for their moment, but then they just get kind of caught out, and I really am surprised that they didn't bail earlier with the heroes who were left in that east side jungle.
Yeah, and I think mainly, and really the only one who did make a mistake there was just Guts on the low ground. Just got a little bit too far away from his own vision and even his own supports, because they have Force Staffs. They could have gotten out of that situation, and then they probably would have just immediately turned on the Merlin and then killed the ES who had rolled in but missed his stun. But instead, every spell from Merlin connects. Looks like quite the wash. Even then, the Troll Warlord was not set up. I mean, it was a little bit too far away. Now I think it's a little bit easier for him to play, but okay, back to the fight over these high ground wards. Well, that Impetus is going to hurt.
Oh, there it is. Takes out a decent chunk of his HP, but he was okay. Meanwhile, we do have the update on Roshan. Pretty long timer there. It's over 2 minutes for that next Aegis, so well, as of right now, NoRunes are kind of trying to secure the area. They take the outpost. We'll see if they set up some vision here, but 2 minutes is a long time to wait, ET. By the time that Roche actually comes up, 5RAT may have regrouped themselves into a position to contest for it.
Yeah, and you'll finish off quite a few items in that time. Of course, the big ones to note, DNM Scotty. Don't know if you're going to be able to finish off speed the entire BKB in that time. Sounds like just a little bit too much net worth and too short of a period, but everybody else should be able to gear themselves up. I think even a Ghost Scepter on the Merlin might be on the table, just making sure he doesn't have to worry about those Lycan Wolves in the slightest. But that's where, even though that Scotty's coming out, that Scotty will be terrifying. Mini's going to get a Basher on the Troll, and we're probably going to see the BKB from Guts come out in time, which will be a little bit more difficult to execute on, because now your easy target of the Invoker, which has been a mark to hit for 5RAT, is going to become a very difficult kill, where DNM is going to have to stick onto him and pretty much kill him off at the beginning of the fight, or instead just run around and hope that he's not casting his spells on you.
Well, some Manta Illusions to push out the middle lane, so NoRunes is taking those little steps, right? Push your opponents back from the mid lane a bit. That's contributing maybe to that Roche control that we were mentioning, as Sarem is getting hit up a bit. Can he TP away? No, he can't. Silence as well. This isn't an easy kill, though. He already had the attendants going, so he is healing up, but eventually you have to assume they're going to get him. Mini, though, does he really want that? He thought about it. Heiko, though, okay, he's doing more than thinking. He's going to jump in. They've got the silence down onto the Ember, but there's that BKB. Kits is going to be able to walk it off, and now they're turning on to Mini, hitting him up. He activates his own BKB, holding the ult for the time being, though. And this fight is starting to swing a little bit. The kisses flying overhead means that Hane is able to take down AB1, but now Heiko, how much time on the shapeshift? Just a couple of seconds. They need to get him back to the rest of his lineup. They will do exactly that with the Cookie. And that was a buyback from the Jakiro. So he's back in here. No macro pyre for 50, but, well, Roche is back up. So they're at full strength. Sarem is back up in 2 seconds, though, so he is going to be TPing in almost immediately, and we'll see, because if you're 5RAT, I don't know, ET, you used a lot. The Exo went down, right? The Jakiro doesn't have macro. This is not going to be easy in terms of just maintaining control of the pit.
No, this is pretty scary, and we do see the reset coming through. While one side used Exorcism, the other used Shapeshift, so really nobody is in a position now to go for Roche just straight off the bat here. They're going to wait for the Troll's BKB, I think, before they attempt anything, but this ward surviving, AB1 sentries have just narrowly missed it, which means NoRunes have a decent idea of where the positioning actually is of that backline. Even though they don't have that high ground ward, this ward is becoming a little bit bothersome, especially if they can find the Jakiro again. Putting him on dieback could be enough of an instigation for them to actually just brute force down that Roche. And now, 3 seconds on the BKB, they can actually attempt this. They just finished the Aghanim Scepter, though, on that Ember Spirit, so Kits has maybe a little bit more movement to play around on, especially when it comes to closing the gap onto Hannes. But here you go. Not letting the illusion scout out the pit either. They have no idea what the HP is looking like here, so this has to be Merlin almost suiciding for information.
So
Oh,
you do
it's too
it.
fast.
He's gonna go for it. There's the roll in, but it's not in time. Can he get the shard maybe? Yeah, okay. He steals that. Cost him his life, but he steals it. But now can the rest of 5RAT get themselves away? Because this fight could get a little complicated. And AB1, well, Ghost Scepter really doesn't do you that much good. It just delays his death, and I don't know. At the end of the day, your 2 supports died. At least it's not a core. At least you took the shard away, ET, but Takiro's on dieback. There's still 2 lives on the Troll Warlord. He didn't have to use BKB at all for that. What the hell's going on here in the river as Hane is getting jumped, but they don't actually kill him. Does that Sunstrike do enough? No, it does not.
And he's out. Okay. Oh,
The fact that they
scary.
They don't get Hane there with... That's 2 cores against a Snapfire, and they didn't find the kill.
Yeah, they were just afraid of the rest of the lineup coming back, but tier 3, there's your glyph. Should be able to just back up now, and we'll have to see where they go next, because it doesn't feel like Vinny wants to let this go, and he won't. He might lose his first life, though.
Yep, they're going to roll in. They kick him back. He is going to go down. Has BKB for the second life, though. Meanwhile, the tower did fall. And there's the BKB activation. Merlin, yikes, punished heavily for that one, as they'll just blow through him. Kits, though, look at him go. He's going to push in. He gets the root on to that troll, but they have to be so careful. He's still holding Battle Trance. Don't know how far they want to go, and at this point they may get punished. Merlin bought back and immediately dies again. This is starting to get a little bit awkward. Silence now onto Kits up to the north, but DNM trying to push in to help him. Pyko going for the shapeshift. Is that enough to get him away? No, it is not. He will die, but Kits dies as well. Now they got the roots down onto DNM. Oh, they lay out everything for that kill, ET, and yeah, they get it, but it was not worth it. Buyback even being forced out as AB1 gets taken down. They're just throwing everything they have into this, and Speed's going to clean up a couple of kills here on the back end, but this is so unbelievably expensive as a hold, and I don't know. Tier 3 went down, ranged racks went down, so many buybacks expended. It's rough.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of net worth, and again, that's your EXO popped, where Speed is not really able to make anything happen after the fact here, just forced out of him, and as soon as NoRunes is alive, they just go again, probably down towards that bottom tier 2, where it is almost impossible for 5RAT to defend. But still, I feel like NoRunes got a little bit sloppy there. The way they initially lost their Aegis felt maybe a little bit too free, which probably gave 5RAT that confidence to chase out, but then it was just a little bit of an overextension. And then overextension after overextension, I feel like DNM, Kits, and Merlin all made pretty much the same mistake, just gunning all for the same kill. Because they had expected Heiko's shapeshift to still be off cooldown, I think, and him barely getting it off is what ended up resulting in that. But here we go. Smoke again. NoRunes are ready. They are not ready on 5RAT. This is where they need to dodge. They can't really afford to die, and of course, lose DNM. They probably just go down mid, and they found the real one.
That's a problem. They're going to hit him up. They've got Abyssal Blades too, so they can keep him stunned. And he doesn't have buyback. He used it in the last fight. He's gone for 100 seconds. Now AB1, can he get a TP out? I think he... No, he can't. Abyssal Blade's there to lock him down. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and even though DNM, he had the good idea. He was trying to manta out that bottom wave. The wave will eventually connect. He wasn't able to kill it. He wasn't able to slow it down at all. And without Glyph, it's just a matter of time here with how fast the Troll and Lycan can eat through your buildings. They're even starting before Backdoor's even gone, because eventually you do just get through it. And with Alacrity, this is not going to survive very long here. This is all just poke, prod, try and do as much damage, try to force a reaction, and that's a wolf bite.
Oh my god, Mini. That's a lot of attack speed. Yeah, they're going to burn through the racks. Also, do want to point out something that I had kind of wondered about before. Never really tested it, but the uncontrollable wolf that you get from the shard does not actually count as a creep for the purposes of backdoor removal. So, just found that out. Other people probably already knew that, but never really had looked at it before. But that doesn't really matter, because there's no backdoor anymore. They're just getting burned down in their own base. Merlin's dead already. No buyback for him. And NoRunes are just going to push their way forward, looking to secure the Megas. And if you're 5RAT, can you hold out 20 more seconds for the Morphling? Even then, you're looking at a a near miracle to keep yourself in this, but it's a miracle that would be easier to pull off with the Morphling, but your tier 4s are under attack.
Your tier 4s are under attack. You still don't have Glyph. Mini has his BKB, his Manta, his Abyssal Blade. Anytime you commit, as well as just the EMP's tornado spam, nobody's able to do anything right now. I think he's got a Blink Dagger coming out as well for the Troll, so got to be careful about just getting turned on, and well, there you go.
Yep, Kits is in trouble. He's getting locked down. Can he somehow get away? No, he can't. Kits dead. No buyback. Tier 4 down. Mortimer Kiss is flying through just to sort of keep everyone at arm's length, but if you're 5RAT, you have to go. You have to try. There's really nothing left to work with, so they're pushing their way forward, looking for anything they can, but the Abyssal Stun comes onto the DP. Defensive Yule Scepter keeps him alive for a few moments, but not long enough. And that really is going to be the end of it. Kits does buy back, but at this point, they're just scrapping for anything they can, although Kits did just pick up a double. Is that enough, though? If they could take down Heiko, well, maybe they live to fight another day. They will do exactly that. Now, all of a sudden, Sarem's getting caught out, too, so... well... they didn't end the game when they had the chance. They've still got Megas and a 20k net worth lead, ET, but they were kind of planning to close that out at that point.
Yeah, and it felt like the game probably could have ended there, but just able to survive, I think, a little bit too long on the Morphling, ended up becoming that overextension, and I think the rest of the lineup just sticking around, again, after Shapeshift, after BKBs. The only reason Heiko dies there is because he just doesn't get patient enough, and whoa!
Kits.
Solo kill. Yeah, Mini's gonna take that one, and 70 seconds on Battle Trance, that's nothing for him. That's one of the changes that people still, I think, undervalue of the Troll, but yeah, Mini is gonna take that every single day of the week. Gets his 25 off that as well, which is quite nice. And oh no!
Oh.
DNM's Courier with what would be the Ags dead for 3 minutes. Well, I don't know if we're gonna see that Ags anymore.
Yeah, in 3 minutes, the game may very well be over if Mini has his way. Nope. Maybe we stop trying to send our couriers over there, boys. That they call cheat. Oh, you ever seen a game end off the back of a courier snipe? That's a new one, ET. But NoRunes, clean it out. Guts gets one last kill in there to pad the stats, and that's the opening match going to the SA squad.
Yeah, and in all honesty, you know, you don't have your Ember Spirit for 70 seconds. The entire enemy lineup just respawned, and you still don't have Exorcism or Glyph either. You know, hands up. It's over. It's something that we have to talk and think about coming into the game too. But man, it felt like 5RAT really were going to be able to do it, or at least put up a little bit more of a fight, I think, for a lot of stages in that game. But I think, again, it's the fighting around the Roche pits that really all of these North American squads need to take a peek at, and I think look a little bit closer as to what is going so right for their opponents and what seemingly feels so wrong for them. Just another case where I think because of those decisions that are being made around the pit, just ends up being a situation that suddenly you cannot fight, you can't team fight, you can't do anything. Mini's Troll looked fantastic, but also I think the Lycan goes pretty unchecked in this game, was not really ever put underneath too much pressure, and then you get to see what is the super valuable matchup of that Lycan versus Death Prophet, where I feel like Lycan is just better Death Prophet in a few of these cases, where Speed just was unable to, I think, put a lot of aggression onto his opponents, but also just wasn't able to contend. It's too much physical damage, it wasn't fast enough item timings, and then the rest of the lineup just played extremely well, especially Hannes, who did such a great job. First 15 minutes of the game, kind of balling out of control, just incredibly solid Snapfire play, and I think just not patient enough play coming out of the Rats. But yeah, that's why this game too. See if they can change things up enough. Yeah,
we'll see what adjustments they make. In the meantime, unfortunately, ET, I think we did give a little bit of a jinx over to Merlin. Talked about how efficient he was playing, how we haven't really seen him feed at all in any of these games, and then he turns in an 0-13 on his Earth Spirit. So, sorry, Merlin. Caster Curse strikes once again, but if you're 5RAT, I don't think that's any reason to back off of it. The ideas may have been correct, the execution was kind of lacking. So we'll see what the Game 2 draft looks like for them, as they will try to regroup here, try to salvage that 1-1 split. As we mentioned repeatedly, cannot just come away from these series empty-handed. O2s are not going to get you into that upper bracket. So we'll be stepping away for just a little bit. When we return, though, it will be that last game of the night, game number 2 between NoRunes and 5RAT. So stick around. See you then.